Hello everyone, and welcome to CRPS Contender, my complex regional pain syndrome education channel. Today's video is Fragile Forebrain, Brain Structures and Functions, Cerebral Cortex. This video is part of my Mind as Matter mega series, so if you would like to watch these in order, here is the listicle for you. Let's hop right into it. Cerebral cortex is the folded outer layer of the brain, and it makes up about 80% of human brain mass, but it only contains about 20% of the neurons. This section of the brain has between 14 and 16 billion neurons out of 84 billion neurons. It is made of gray matter due to the lack of myelin sheathing surrounding nerve axons, which slows the signals. This area of the brain is the most highly developed part of the human brain. It is responsible for thinking, perceiving, producing, understanding language, and information processing. The cerebral cortex is divided into 4 major lobes with specific functions. First one I want to discuss is the frontal lobe. This is the red lobe to your right. It is the largest lobe and is in control of movement as well as the memory of plans, your speech and language, and your personality. Next is your temporal lobe, and this is in green. You have coordinating lobe on the other side as well. This is responsible for recognizing, translating, processing, and assigning meaning to sound. It is responsible for visual and facial perception. It is responsible for common knowledge, recognition, and recollection, as well as familiarity, episodic, and semantic memory. Your parietal lobe is this orangish section here, and this is another one where it has a pair on the other side. And these lobes are responsible for motor planning, somatosensory input integration, sensory motor planning, learning, language, spatial recognition, and differentiating between objects. At the back of your head, in yellow here, you have your occipital lobe, which is responsible for visual processing and interpretation. And then here, the last one, you can see the cerebellum, which is blue. This is part of your hindbrain, not part of your cortex, but that's kind of how it sits there right on top of the black, which would be your brainstem. So if any of these areas are damaged, what can you expect? If your frontal lobe is experiencing an injury or dysfunction, you will have problems with executive dysfunction. You can have disturbed social behavior, emotional dysregulation, hypoemotionality, de-energization, distress, impaired decision-making, weakness or paralysis and reduced muscle tone without other obvious cause, difficulty with skilled movements even when a person has the ability and desire to do them, personality disorders and behavioral changes, and an inability to comprehend or formulate language. If your temporal lobes are damaged, you might experience deafness, auditory, memory, or visual hallucinations, the production of unintended syllables, words, or phrases during the effort to speak, forgetfulness, an inability to focus, behavioral and emotional changes, disruption of smell, taste, or hearing. If your parietal lobes are damaged, you might experience inability to identify an object by active touch of the hands without other sensory input, such as visual or sensory information, an inability to comprehend or formulate language, difficulty with skilled movements even when you have the ability and desire to do them, and a loss of sensation. If your occipital lobe is damaged, you might experience visual field deficits, irregular vision, difficulty standing, or blindness. This was a very, very, very basic overview of the cortex, the areas of the cortex, what they are responsible for, and what you might experience if they are dysfunctional. Thank you for watching. As always, relevant sources are linked below, and I will see you in the following video.